It's more than practical, way more than merely factual. If you wanna know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to girls behaving metaphysically. Listen to girls behaving metaphysically.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience. Join Robin Rice and Sumaya Wood for this week's adventure.
Well, hello. Happy Friday.
Welcome. Happy Friday.
I'm Sumaya Wood.
And I'm Robin Rice. And we
are Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
I'm so happy to be here on this beautiful Friday.
I know, me too. Your volume needs to, something happened with your volume. It sounds a little soft. Or maybe it's just
soft.
me.
That's me. I'm so soft.
You're so soft and delicate.
Let me see. Is this any better?
Oh, a little. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Excuse us while we work through some technical difficulties.
We're all about transparency.
I know. Because, that's what it's all about.
Right? All roads lead back.
Well, it's real.
Keeping it real. That's us.
Exactly. So today we're talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Because I have a thing, Robin, I have a thing where I do not like to reboot my computer because I always have like 50 different tabs open in my browser, and then I have like my email, and then I have my, Word documents, and God knows what else I have open. And I'm usually doing like 70 things at once. And I don't want to close it because then I can never remember where I was. And I don't know if that happens to you, but this show is a great forcing function because I always reboot my computer before the show just to make sure there's no hiccups. But I won't do it in between shows.
I totally feel you. I think if I would not reboot if it wasn't for this show. And it's the only like ritual I stick to is once a week turning it off and turning it on before this show.
Yeah. And so when Robin and I were talking about this week's show, we started thinking about how often it is that we don't reboot in our lives. And, we're usually just go. And we don't take that pause that refreshes. We don't take the time to reboot and recharge our batteries. And why is that?
Yeah, why is that? I mean, I was thinking about that in terms of like the phone as well, because I don't turn my phone off unless I have to.
I know. I had to do, my phone was wonky yesterday. I turned it off, and it was the first time I'd turned it off in weeks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's those things that, and your computer always works better once it's rebooted.
Right.
And you've cleared the cache and all of that.
It's like such a metaphor for life.
Exactly. And so today, that's what we're going to explore. We're going to explore, ways that we can reboot, what keeps us from rebooting, and what some strategies might be to make that happen with more ease in our day-to-day lives. And before we jump in, if you are joining us live, just say hello in the comments below. Just let us know you're here. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you are catching us on the replay, do the same thing. Say hello and just type in #replay below the video and let us know that you've caught the show. So, Robin,
yes.
What keeps you from rebooting, recharging, all of that?
It's funny you asked that. I was thinking was thinking about that, and I was thinking,
I'm
see,
listening.
it's a day of technical challenges. But I was thinking about what what is it? Why don't I do that? And some of it, I think, I mean, I was kind of going back between my technology and life, right? In life, I don't reboot, I think, because I don't want to miss anything. Like, what happens if I take that break and right then what I've been waiting for happens?
I
So
know.
I tend to get a little stuck in that. Um, yeah, and I don't know. I don't know why we don't reboot. I mean, is it because things keep going and so we don't have to? Like, there's the illusion that, oh well, it's all working fine. Why should I, why should I fix it if it's not broke? Or, and it's not like a car, right? Where you run out of gas and then you get the message. You can't move
Right.
until you do, right? Until your computer freezes.
Until your computer freezes or you get sick or it's really your computer's just going really slow or the universe smacks you upside the head with something that you didn't see coming.
Right.
Um, but that's so true about what you said, and it's that FOMO, fear of missing out, right? I can't take time to meditate, or I can't take time to take care of myself better, or whatever, because what if these 17 things happen in that brief span of time that I was doing all of that?
Yeah. And I'm kind of a master at that. I'd like to believe that I've really taken it to a new level. And I can tell you, so my husband and I are going on vacation today.
Yay.
It's just a mini vacation. We're going to Milpitas.
Woohoo, Lupinus.
Woohoo! For anyone listening from somewhere else, that's like a 30-minute away place. Um, Maybe an hour if there's traffic.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, but I've designed this vacation to
Hmm.
work. So we're going away
So
now.
that, look, I'm just gonna give you a little tip.
Mhm.
That's not a vacation.
But it is because I feel I feel like so accomplished and like I could come home and rest a little. You know what I mean? Like it balances out the pressure zone. So it's like if we go away and we're together and we can really just be in the zone and create the things we want to create and work on them. I know I'm not totally making excuses. I think there's a balance because
Right.
like then I come home and I'm not like stressed when I can't get it done or kids are running in the room or different things are happening. So, but full disclosure, clearly it's not a vacation. And I can't really remember the last time I went on a plane vacation because I like to pack a bag of things to do.
Huh.
I
That's
like to
interesting.
check things off on my vacation, even if it's just even if it's like I have a stack of magazines or something, I want to take them and I want to go through them. So,
Right.
am I de-stressing? Yeah, I am, and I'm getting things done at the same time.
Right. Well, it's interesting because your workation, your Milpitas workation is actually a form of self-care.
Yes.
Um, Even though it might not seem that way, and you guys have figured out that having that undisturbed time to focus on the things that you want to focus on, to kind of plow through them,
Right.
is a form of self-care, and it will not only help you get things done, but it will help you get things done in a less stressful way.
Right.
So to me, that's a way of rebooting.
Right? It kind of rebalances.
Hmm.
And I did try like this time I got way more creative than usual. Like I looked up some restaurants that we could try and you know a fun place to get non-dairy ice cream and da 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 da. You know what I mean? So I was trying to be a little more balanced in vacation and work.
So
Yeah,
you can mix in, so you can find things to balance out the work.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna call that one a creation because we're going to create. So it's
Yes.
a creatation or something.
I
Something like
like it. I like it.
yeah,
So,
but for the most part I don't yeah, I don't tend to reboot anywhere.
and that's awesome to notice. And I think I'm the same. Like I said, for me to reboot my computer once a week is like a huge thing.
Right.
So, because I'm always doing something. I can't, I'm not a sit still kind of gal.
Right.
So even if it's reading or learning something new, and for me, one of the things that I've learned about myself over the years is that for me, learning something new is my way of rebooting because it gets me out of my normal routine and my normal day to day, and I can learn something new. Like I can be creative or I can there's many languages that I want to learn. I haven't gotten through those yet, but it's that kind of thing where my brain is working in a different way. And so for me, that's how I shut off. Is that wrong?
Right.
Is that wrong? And I want to say hi, TC. I saw you there a while ago. Hello, glad you're here. Um, and
TC might have some insights too. She likes to work too, I think.
yeah, and
But don't
yeah,
you think
sure, for sure. And you know what I was just gonna say? I think it's like a uniquely American thing.
yeah, I think there's that, but I think this is what I think. I haven't thought it through. I think that creatives don't stop as much as other people.
That's
'Cause
interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Why do you think that is?
because we're always creating. Like you're
Yeah,
looking at you don't I'm making this up, but I know that you don't just want to learn a language. Once you learn a language, you'll want to translate the mugs you make into that language and you'll be thinking of marketing ideas. You know what I mean? We don't just go, "Oh yeah, that would be great," and settle down and go, "Oh look, I've written one book. I feel accomplished. I feel good." We're like, "What's next? How do I do the
yeah,
workshop on the book? How do I get it to," like we're always in that energetic, right?
yes. Yeah. That's a really good point, for sure. And so yeah, I can't even sit and watch a movie anymore
Me neither.
on Netflix. Like my husband will decide to watch a movie, and I'll have my computer in front of me, and I'll be doing something else on the computer,
Me too.
and yeah, because we're the same person. And so for me, you know, and that's where having my meditation practice is really helpful because that's where I actually take the time. And even if it's like 10 minutes of just to get still, get centered, get back into alignment for me, like of who I am. Okay, TC, what do you got? I'm gonna put it up on the screen. For me, it's just that it doesn't occur to me. I'm so not used to self-care. Yes, totally get that, TC. I'm the exact same way, and I think Robin's saying the same thing. And yes, on the creative angle. Also, I get overwhelmed easily these days during the launch of the Take It Easy path, so I just don't have the bandwidth to focus. Yeah, and it's absolutely, it's that sense of overwhelm, and the self-care. And I guess one of the things that I'm thinking about is, do we need to expand our definition of self-care?
Yes, but I just want to comment on one thing TC said.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that the name of her project business is Take It Easy?
Yeah. Take the easy path.
Take
Yeah.
the easy path. Yeah.
Yep.
When that's clearly not what we do.
I know. Well, maybe so, maybe not, right? Because for me, the easy path or the harder path would be to sit still, like while watching a movie.
Yes.
And I know, and then that seems really ridiculous to say, but it's that's how I get that excess energy out. And I don't know if it's just because there's so much going on in the world these days that I feel like I have this abundance of energy that I need to kind of, and I'd never actually thought about it before this moment. So I'm making it up too, just like you.
Yeah, and I don't know, for me, I don't know if it's an abundance of energy as much as it's, for me, abundance of things to do. So there's sometimes when I'll be sitting there with guilt watching a movie and trying my hardest to sit there and watch a movie, and my head's going, "Okay, you really should be doing." That's the easiest time for me to think of my list of things to do. So then I'm like, "Okay, will I remember later?" And I know I won't. I know that I won't remember them. I'm like, "Okay, I really should just get a pen and pad and write them down or type them into my computer." And then that's a slippery slope because if I pick the computer up, then I'm like, "I'll just send this email now." Because I can, I can't, but it's really hard to just sit there. And 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 I don't know. I mean, now that it's like we don't have to go to movie theaters, or we haven't gone to movie theaters in
Right.
so long, I don't even really know the practice of, like, sitting there and just watching. It's funny, I will go
Yeah,
to
because
watch
you
a
can't
movie.
in a movie theater, it forces you to
Yeah,
like you can't take your laptop out in the middle of the movie theater. People will throw things at you.
it's true. We go to have Friday night movie night with the family and the kids, and, like, everybody goes up and sits down, and I come up with my computer and my papers, and I have my my
That's
little
funny.
TV tray. I know, nobody ever says anything, though.
Well, they expect it now. If you didn't do that, they'd be like, "Oh, who are you?"
I know,
See, I'm not.
I can't
Oh,
wait to
sorry.
hear what the kids say, like, when they're grown up. "Remember how
Yeah,
we
right?
always had her computer or paper, she was always doing something else." Anyway, okay.
So TC says, so many movies in my queues, but every time I look at the list, I'm like, nope, you are so not alone on that. I have probably 100 movies in my Netflix queue, and I can't. Anytime I scan through it, I'm like, no. And TC, she says, focusing is really hard for me as well. I figured people who meditate, pray would be better at focusing. And so here's the thing for me. It's like it's not like I am very focused, when I'm doing something. So I might be watching a movie and I might have Photoshop open and I'm creating like a new design for my little Zazzle store or something like that. And it's not because it's on my to-do list. It's just that is such a great creative outlet for me that I don't know, it works different parts of my brain that apparently need to come out.
Well, but that makes sense. I have a friend, my friend Jeffrey, who is a television writer,
Uh-huh.
and he's also, like, this emphatic doodler. Like, that's all when he's talking to you, he's doodling and he's writing and and, like, he was having this big meeting years ago, and I was like, "You can't go into the meeting like that." He's like, "But that's how I think. That's that's how I think, and that's how that's how he could be present," you
Yeah.
know? So it is an interesting balance, you know, to figure out. But at the
Well,
end of the day, I have to say there's no getting around it. I know I'm not gonna lie that I do not
don't
have
lie.
good I don't have good, self-care boundaries like that.
Well, and that's what I think what I was saying before about maybe we need to collectively rethink about how we define self-care. Because for a lot of people, self-care is like going and getting a massage or, something like that, or the mani-pedi or, whatever. Um, and I'm not a massage person. I'm not gonna lie. I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've had a massage, and it's enjoyable and it's fine, but it's not like I sit here and I'm like, oh, I need a massage. Right. That's something that for me is like I gotta have it in order to feel better. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm just weird.
I'm not gonna lie, I am a massage person, and I will take one any time of the day.
Nice.
But
Nice.
how often do I get one?
Right.
You know? So knowing that that's something that helps, or any kind of body work or whatever, it's not it's 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 a practice. And back to your comment, TC, about meditating, you thought people that meditated would be better at it, or
The focusing.
better at
Better at focusing.
no, they're just better at practicing one thing. So it's like meditating is I don't know. I don't know if it gets easier for people. I'm sure it does. I'm sure there are people that it's a breeze, but for me it's a discipline. I mean, it doesn't happen in a flowing way. Like, I don't get up and go, "Oh, I've got to meditate." Get up and I go, "I got to meditate." Okay, and then I have to
Right.
stop and focus and plan it. It's not. Yeah.
It's not like your go-to.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's yes, it's a discipline. Um and so sorry, lots of things are popping through my head. I'm going to that scene from when we did Eat, Pray, Love a few months ago for our movie show.
Uh-huh.
And that scene where Julia Roberts has just arrived in India and she goes into the little meditation room and she's sitting and she's got her perfect posture and all of that. And while she's sitting, she's designing her, meditation room in her new place and this and that and the other thing. And then she looks at and she's been sitting and spinning in her brain and she looks and it's like not even a minute has passed or maybe a minute has passed. And absolutely sometimes that's how meditation is for
Yeah.
I think everybody,
Yeah.
right? And it's that discipline. It's like when we talked to Paul, was it last month? I think it was last month when we talked to Paul Racy. Sometimes that sitting that opens the door for amazing things to flow through. And he talked about how he prepared for that last big scene in
Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think that, like anything, um, I think what's coming up for me is what you said earlier, that we really need to redefine. We need to redefine all of it, self-care and all of it.
I'm going to need to step away for just a moment.
So, while we're here and I'm redefining self-care, I mean, it just really spoke to what Samaya said earlier. And obviously, you know, if we're thinking there's no good and bad, then there's no wrong way to do it. We just have to really redefine it and make it nurturing for us.
Exactly. Sorry about that. Live
That's
TV.
okay. And
Yeah, there is no wrong way. And so I think the key as we're kind of having this conversation is to really figure out what works for us to reboot. Because for me, like popping open Photoshop and creating things is very therapeutic because it's like calming, it's centering. I get to kind of work my brain in a different way. And that's for me very relaxing and something I wish I created more time for.
I just
And
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I actually looked up the definition of reboot, and of course, it said to restart by loading the operating system to boot again, but it also says to produce a distinctly new version of an established, of it could be an established media franchise, film, TV show, game
Oh,
show, comic book, but it's to produce a distinctly new version of something. That's rebooting also, to make the change
I
in
forgot. Yeah, it's like you reboot the franchise.
in order to establish a new beginning,
I love that definition.
right? And that, I mean, I think when people come into new thought and spirituality and different things like that too, not that that's what we're going for, but we do have that thing that we want to start again in a way, to reclaim, not reboot, but redesign or
Well, and we think that it has to look a specific way,
right.
right? It's got to be, I've got to pray, and I've got to journal, and I've got to meditate, and I've got to do it, this way and not that way. And I think, one of the things, Robin, you and I've talked about this for forever. Like, the whole goal behind the show was to remind people that there's not one way to do it.
Right.
And I think what I'd love for folks to walk away with from this show is just remember that what the pause that refreshes or that reboot that works for you is not going to be the same as what works for your best friend or your partner or your coworker. And to really kind of explore what works best for you. And I love, what TC says here is that, in the corporate world, you doodled in meetings all the time. And that was what you needed to do to help you focus. And it got misinterpreted by other coworkers, but you knew what you needed to do to be able to focus and contribute in the best way possible for you. And so I think it's just wonderful and I think that's exactly what we're trying to get at, TC, of figure out what works best for you, and damn the torpedoes.
Well, and I think you kind of have to. I mean, obviously you have to, but I think you kind of have to design it in your own way. But it's just about being real with yourself. Like I was thinking about when I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking, about different ways people take breaks, different ways people would interpret rebooting. Like, somebody might go read a book, somebody might go for a walk, somebody might, go on their Instagram, whatever. And
Get a massage.
Get a massage. But I was thinking like about like, a lot of times, especially nowadays, people are like, they go on their phone for their break, for their rebooting. And obviously there's positive and negative to that. I don't have a negative problem with it, but I mean, there's been studies and reports and things about how social media can leads to depression, and it leads to anxiety, and it leads to and there's good to it too. It also shows connection, which of course in this time we had nothing but on some level.
Right.
So it's the balance, and it's being real with yourself about how it's really making you feel,
Yeah,
and how it is when
absolutely.
you check in.
And that's why it's so important to, recognize what is your unique way of rebooting, and really pay attention to it and honor it, because it's so easy to get into that space of judging of, oh, I really should go get a massage, or I really should meditate, or, because that's what I've been told self-care looks like.
Or like when people say, "Oh, don't you have a hobby? Do your hobby. Get a hobby." I remember like I was like, "Well, I love art." So I remember going to do art. I went to like, Color Me Mine or a ceramics place. And I went in and I was with my friends. We're having this party. Everybody's all relaxed and painting and creating. And I was so stressed out
You
by
get very into, I've been
the
to that
end.
place with you,
You
and you
have.
get very into it, and want it to be just so.
Right. And so I'm looking at my plate, and like while everybody else has created these pots with blooming flowers on them or something like that, and I'm looking at my plate and I've got a globe and I'm wanting to make little hands and people go around the whole thing, touching hands. I've got a whole concept. I'm on a world peace tour in my head and a project. And so I was so stressed out by the end. I was like, okay, this wasn't fun. I can't do this like this and call it relaxing, but I mean,
Right.
it was a great learning. So I do know now if I was to go to Color Me Mine to do something with a little broader strokes. That just makes me laugh because I'm thinking I'm thinking about the last thing I painted. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you.
Oh, you have it handy.
I have it handy. Can you see this?
I remember, I think I was with you when you were
Could have been.
creating that. Or is that the one you took? Like, there was one thing that's awesome. It's amazing.
Is
I
Mad
feel like I
Max.
remember you like brought something back multiple times.
God knows. But I mean, so I go, okay, I'm going to create something different. Then I try to replicate some artist, that has a children's book. Like not a place of relaxation for me. And I love art, so how do
Yeah,
I find that balance? So I have to find the balance that makes it work.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, gets back to listen to your heart, listen to what's going on within you, to and don't try to create your reboot process to mimic somebody else's. Or somebody says, oh, you should do art. and and that's not a relaxing thing for you, and that's an awesome realization to
Not like
recognize.
that,
Yeah,
certainly.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I
And
it
so
but let me but to that note, I just wanna say, so that's where I think that's where we need to be real with ourselves. So,
mhm.
in order for me to do art and be relaxed about it, and I do have my sketch pad packed for this weekend,
Oh, nice.
but I have to let go of the outcome. I have to go, "Okay, it's okay if this isn't going into the Modern Museum of Art. It's
Well, do
okay."
you have to?
I have to. I do.
Okay.
I have to let go of it looking a certain way in order to
Right.
enjoy it. And Gil was actually saying this morning, he was telling somebody about, we have an Artist Way group, and he was talking about things he did, and, he's really passionate about riding his bike. So, he's been riding his bike, and he's been tinkering with his bike, and
I remember he had the wheels, the
he's
tires.
oh, yeah, the good times. And he's got a place in the garage where he's working on his bike and all of those things. But what I heard him say was to them, because he's been going on a bike ride almost every day, for sure 3, 4 times a week. And he said, I have to make sure I have that space because I know what it does for me. So for him, the benefits of riding his bike keeps him
Right.
from being depressed, keeps him from getting angry, keeps him from, he knows he's going to come home and be able to focus better on the work he wants to do. But the key thing was, even though it's something he loves to do, it's still a practice. He has to, force himself sometimes to get up and go on the bike, knowing that it's the right thing for him.
And that's so great. It gets back to what you were saying before about the discipline,
Right.
right? And it's finding what your vehicle for rebooting is, and then making sure you're carving out time for it, whether it's riding a bike or getting a massage, or for me, going on to Photoshop and playing.
Right. Right. And I
And
think
and with Photoshop, it's great because I can always delete if it's not MoMA ready.
That's a good feature. But I think that's one of the things that made Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way book so brilliant was
Mhm.
that she had you going on artist dates every week.
Yep.
So, can you create that space and whatever it looks like, can
Mhm.
you take that hour and turn off all your devices and,
Oh, that's so hard.
right? Take a walk, jump in a
She wrote
pool.
that before Apple invented the iPhone.
That's funny. Yeah, it is so that's the question and that's the challenge.
Right.
And that's the key. We're back at the beginning, so we must be done. That's the key is that it's a discipline, on
Mhm.
some level. When you turn off your computer or you turn off your iPhone or you turn off your cell phone, that things are gonna work better, you
Mhm.
know? And so can you can, can you turn off yourself? Can you
Yeah.
pause and figure out what that would be, what that would look like?
And I love I'm so glad you brought up The Artist Way because the whole artist date is a perfect way of thinking about it, and it doesn't have to be weekly, it might be biweekly, it might be monthly, it might be daily, right? And what is the date that you're gonna make with yourself to reboot?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you and whatever helps you recharge your batteries,
Yes.
because that's what it's really about.
It is that's what it's really about. And I don't want to speak for TC, but I'm going to that, that's that's why one should take the easy path, right? And check out her work. She has some brilliant poetry and beautiful creative stuff that, might be the key to you taking a deeper breath and relaxing and finding out a little bit more about one of your passions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. It sounds like we are at the end of today's show. As Robin mentioned, I think you mentioned, or I
I
think
don't
you
think I
mentioned
did.
next week's show. Did you mention next week's show?
I don't think I did, but I could have.
Maybe I was just foreshadowing it in my head.
Well, it's so exciting that it just is permeating the air. So
I know.
next week's movie, TC, get it out of your queue or find it. Next week's movie is The Full Monty. I don't know if you've seen it or if you remember it. If you haven't seen it, super fun movie. And is it on Prime?
Think it's on Prime.
I think it's on Prime. It's in our announcement on Facebook, so you can find it. You can find it either there or look on Prime or Netflix. And we'll
Yes,
let
it's
you
fun.
know.
I haven't seen that in over 20 years, so I'm excited to revisit it.
Yeah, it'll be
To
fun.
revisit it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Have an amazing, amazing weekend and a wonderful week. And we will see you back here next Friday with the Full Monty. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.